live stream. Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. I'm just waiting for the link. Directly into YouTube. Okay, meeting is being live streamed. Here's the YouTube link. Go ahead and share that. We're live right now. I'm going to share this on our social media. Meetup.com first. Okay, sharing the event. Day in a life. Edit. Add link. Save changes. Oh, come on. I cannot. Okay. And I put it on the comments for some reason it's not letting me edit the details. Send to everyone. Manage attendees, don't attendees. Try to wireless BBS with this. And sent in on Python Philippines. That's interesting. Why is it not sent? Okay. There's 2 people watching right now. I'm assuming that's me and Zoretz.
So maybe I should click too.
It's your call. You can share on your social
Hang
media.
on.
Okay. Already. Okay. We're all ready. It's 11 a.m. Philippine time. Nobody's watching right now because I just literally sent out the link. Oh, there are 3 people watching.
That's me.
I'm also going to like this. Oh, that's I am in as all right. Switzerland. Hello, everyone. Okay, I've already shown to as much as I can. Already 4 people watching, and I'm assuming that's every one of us. All right. Should we wait a bit more, or should we just start and?
Oh, who's Mr. Valdez?
Oh, that would be me.
Valdez.
That would be
Ah,
me.
okay.
That's my. You know how on the internet you shouldn't say your real name. Oh
Yeah.
wait, because I'm old. That's the rule then. Yeah, that name came about a long time ago, and I've never bothered to change it.
Yeah, but sometimes when you changed, do you have this experience when you change your name too many times and you couldn't remember which one you use?
Um, I also do role playing, so role playing games. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean that will happen when we have too many names too.
I see that the watch counter is going up and down. Is it all right if we wait for 5 more minutes before we start? I think
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
that's more than enough time for people to notice.
In Thailand, maybe people is still sleeping. It's raining right now, so the weather is
Too good.
too good.
Too good to wake up. So maybe I can help to just post on Twitter and Facebook.
Twitter and Facebook. No, Instagram.
I think Instagram has different kind of audience.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I forgot if I mentioned this on the email, but Georgie,
Yeah.
you start and then can those nets.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Do I start now?
Well, Zoritz will start the entire show.
Okay.
And then
Cool.
good morning, Jan. Good morning, Jan. Oh, we have. We start in 3 minutes and 10. Good morning, Vicente.
Gansu should post because he has a lot of followers.
I already posted that. Yeah.
Okay, it's 11:10. Zoritz, you may start the show.
So, hi guys, good morning Philippines, Thailand, and Georgia, where Georgie is right now, and to the country you are currently watching from. I would like to formally greet all of you to Python Philippines webinar, A Day in the Life of a Work from Home Pythonista.
Day in the Life of a Work from Home Pythonista is a monthly virtual webinar talk show series where we interview different Pythonistas from various roles such as a developer, CTO, data scientist, QA, and so on, to give people in the community an insight of what a typical workday looks like for these various roles. The goal of this webinar is to give a sense of community, provide some sense of perspective, and inspiration for those who are working from home and lost to social interactions. I am one half of the host, Sonny Valdez.
And I am Zorik Salvo.
And today we have two guests with us, very special episode. Georgie and Khan are both from Python Thailand. And Georgie, for those who do not know, is a time traveler. Thus, they are at Georgia right now, which is apparently evening right now, which is weird. So weird. We invited them over to talk about their work from home setup.
So, Georgie, tell us about a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I think you just have a little about that tells everyone about who I am.
Right.
So, hi everyone, this is Georgie here, and I'm the PyCon APAC conference lead in Thailand, and I am not in Thailand right now. I'm currently in the US, Georgia, as you can see behind here. It's exactly 11:12 here too, but at night. And I also do quite a bit of lead a few community groups, including RubyConf, PyLadies, and did quite a few other events like Code War and Hacktoberfest. So yeah, I also a PSF fellow member and recently just got to win the PSF Community Service Award. So yeah, I have my own business and I'm a mother of two teenagers. That's it.
And Khan, your turn. Let the audience know who you are.
Okay, sure. Hello everyone. My name is Kan Uvirat, and can call me just Kan. Right now, I'm working as a data architect and technical consultant from ODDS. It's a group of people who believe in making software should be fun. And right now, I'm also work in the community called Data Council, which I work with the team in the San Francisco to organize the data community in Thailand as well. And I also work with Georgie on organizing the PyCon APAC this year as well. Yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. So, yeah. So, before we formally start, I would like to ask the audience in our YouTube to just type in all of your questions, and we'll just read those to Khan and Georgie later. So with that out of the way, let's start with Georgie.
Yeah. All right. Should I just share my slides right now?
Yes.
Okay. So give me a minute. I'm just going to push these slides up. All right. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So like I've mentioned previously, I'm actually an entrepreneur. I set up my own business I think about 5 years ago, when I realized I couldn't get a job anywhere. So I decided to just set up my own business, and things were doing well. So I did a few work like business development for and consultation for businesses, and also digital marketing, design. So I am not like most of the team members in PyCon, where everyone is really an expert in Python. I'm actually the beginner, like beginner to intermediate in Python's language. But on the other hand, if you're talking about like digital marketing and like events organizing, that is something that I've been doing since I was like 18 years old. So let me see what else. So I'm also the organizer for Python, Ruby, and other meetups. So I started off doing some basics of Ruby too. So that's how I thought there wasn't any community for the Ruby group, and I started this community. So before I actually was in the PyCon Python community in Thailand, I was actually also started off with the Ruby team first. Then eventually it after PyCon PyCon Thailand in 2019, we were inspired by Lena from Japan when she was giving a talk about PyLadies. So together with another co-organizer, Gata, we started PyLadies, and then including Hacktoberfest that comes over, we help out, and Cold War too. Apart from that, I'm also a coach and trainer. So you can see on this picture, I do quite a bit of online training for a lot of entrepreneurs when they want to know a little bit more about how to grow their businesses. That's how I actually will give them classes privately too. And also, like I mentioned, I'm a mother of 2 teenage girls. So my eldest is actually she's in the university right now, and the youngest is in the last year of high school. So next year she's also going to university. All right, so my current project right now is, this is a surprise. So no one has actually seen before. So it's a little sneak peek for everyone. This, the PyCon US 2022 website, which is we designed the template and the assets. So there's together with another web developer. So we are working right now to prepare the next year PyCon US together with the PSF team. And interest. So I do quite a few different little things. I like to do music, painting, Muay Thai, and renovation, and crime stories. So before, I think that was about 20 years ago, I was actually a professional singer in a Hard Rock Cafe and a few other pubs before. And I also wrote some songs. And I was pretty lucky back then. So out of the 5 songs I've written and sent to my publisher, there was 2 songs that was picked up by popular artists, and I kind of got quite a bit of royalties from them. Then I started going crazy over Muay Thai, and that was when I do quite a bit of Muay Thai. if you actually are into jiu-jitsu, you will see on the picture on the top left-hand corner, that is a pretty legendary jiu-jitsu family from the Gracie family. Then renovations. So I was quite into that too. Actually, I do it as a passion, but it seems to be, I was quite lucky that people actually invited me to renovate their cafes and also renovate their houses. So you can see some of them are some of my previous places that I've renovated. I don't really like to do new things. I like to revamp old things, so to keep the original aspect of every place and to beautify it and make it the best out of whatever they have. Yes, and crime stories. So I'm really into crime stories. I mean, like true crime stories. So I'm a fan of like a few podcasts, like Dateline, Crime Junkies, and so many of them. And I created a website for fun called Killer Insight. You can try on this URL. So it's actually, you can key in your birthday to see if your birthday coincide with any killer, I mean serial killer. So you're lucky if you don't have a serial killer in you. So my work from home setup, because I travel a lot, so this is my bag, and this is how my work from home looks like. Just a backpack. If you take out what I has, so I will have cables, foldable keyboard so that it's easier to pack, a little laptop, of course, and not a computer. It's much easier to carry, of course, and a laptop stand that's foldable. Everything that can save as much space as possible. My headphones. So when I have talk like right now, I will use these headphones. And if not, when I need to concentrate outside, I will usually have a foldable headphone where I plug into some music and just get things going. Then I also have a travel adapter that adapts to different country. So wherever I go, it works. And because there's so many cables going on, and we've had mobile and charger and stuff like that, I usually carry a multi-plug adapter too. Then a power bank for my phone. And this is one of my favorite. It's my page marker. So I usually carry this little page marker where I put on my daily task on it. And then my notebook and pen. So the day when I start working, I'll start writing down. So apart from the task that goes on my page marker, I will have a little book that I will jot down whatever I have in my mind so that it's easier to see. I mean, since I'm not at my home usually, so I don't have several screens. So it's actually much easier where I have, instead of 2 screens, I'll have a book, and then at the same time a page marker. So it's a little bit about the same as some people with a few screens at home. So when you set it up, it looks a little bit like this. And my daily task, like I mentioned just now, is pretty simple. I'll open up my mobile and have my Google Calendar. And sometimes I use any.do to just provide some pop-ups and reminders of whatever, because I do have to admit that I have a very I don't have very good memory, a little bit like the dory fish. So I can forget things pretty easily, even names and things like that. So I need something to help me to remember stuff. So the pie markers is something that I found recently that it's really fun because you can actually write down a few tasks per day, whatever you need to do. And once you're done with the task, I'll just peel off that pie, that chart, that piece of the pie, and throw it away. It's really satisfying. So it actually kind of motivates me to finish my tasks. And a little work hacks for or tools that I usually use, because like I mentioned, I'm not really doing programming full time, but I still do quite a bit for certain reasons. So usually, to make sure that I don't overwork, I do take lots of regular breaks. And apart from whatever I mentioned just now, the post-it daily, the tasks, and a notebook, I also keep my jobs and projects in line with Notion. And music, I couldn't live without music. So I have a personal music playlist. You can actually go on here, bit.ly/Georgie. It's music that has rhythm and with minimum voices singing. So it kind of helped me to concentrate with what I'm doing. And I couldn't do without one password, because there's so many logins every time. Then, of course, when I'm doing coding, I'll use Visual Studio. That links, of course, like most of people, what you do. And also, when I'm doing designing, then I will be using Canva, Pixlr, Illustrator, Photoshop, XD, etc. And for communication, along with my clients, and also for projects related, it's usually Slack, WhatsApp, Line, and Gmail. So when I do exercises and workouts, I like to use Pacer, Nike training, Nike Adidas training, and Headspace for some Zen moments. That's something that I would like to introduce to everyone, is this breathing exercises. So I tried this Wim Hof method, which is a really, really good breathing exercises. You will be amazed. It's a little bit like after you try out these breathing exercises, your brain started to be feel refreshed, and you actually can work better, and you feel as if like you're high, it's a kind of breathing exercises where you do constantly a few 10 hard breaths, and then after that you hold your breath thereon, and you expel the breath and hold it for another moment. So it kind of like train your lungs to breathe properly and to withhold air. During this period of time where we're in COVID period, it could be actually quite a good thing to tell your lungs to breathe properly. Yeah. Okay. So basically, this is a little bit about my life working from home or wherever I go in Georgia right now.
Sorry.
Can you guys?
Yep. Okay. Oh, that's great, Georgie. Actually, it's very interesting how you do your work from home life. I think you do a very well balanced work from home. So, but now let's hear from Kat.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sure. Gonna share my screen. Okay, you can see it right now, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's start. So just to introduce to my work from home life. Okay, this is my GitHub. doll. So I put it on my desk every day to remind that I'm still a coder. Okay, just to officially introduce myself again, my name is Gan, and right now I title myself as a data craftsman and technical consultant from odds. I'm a community organizer of Data Council Bangkok as well. Right now, I think I'm a small contributor in Apache Airflow as well, and I just got 2 certificates from Astronomer, which is the company that manage Airflow service for clients. Right now, I'm a co-organizer of PyCon Thailand, so working with Georgie. Okay. And just for the fun fact of myself, I never tell this publicly anywhere before. I just put this slide a few minutes ago. So I used to hate Python. It was 10 years ago. At that time, I worked on the project called OLPC. I guess I have no idea if you remember this small computer where we give it to the children, and then they use for learning, for their education. It costs only $1,000 if I remember correctly. OLPC stands for 1 laptop per child. Okay, so at the time I tried to do a peer-to-peer system to send the file between this small machine, so that something like they can share the network without using the internet in the rural area, something like that. The reason that I hated Python at that time because I implement program in C++ before, whereas in which it has like a bracket, but Python you have to indent, and I kind of like hate indent at that time. But right now I really love Python and I hate C++ instead. Okay. So about my current work, right? And actually, it's not my company. I work as a consultant. I go into the clients of company and consult them and be a data architect for them. So it's called this service called co-creation. It's the service from odds that provide to the client. So I work with the client at the bank and I consult them. I try to build data platform for them and try to build data culture for them as well. And also my side project, and actually for my passion that I love data engineer and data science. So I try to build up an online course in the data engineering series, work with Studio, which is the education company in Thailand. And also in my free time, I try to contribute to Airflow, which is my love tool. And what I'm doing here is like try to read all the issues and try to understand their code and try to fix their documentation and try to add up more, try to think about the feature that it would be great to have in Airflow. Yeah, this is my 3 main work right now. And just to give you a tour to my desk, this is my desk setup. And the first piece is the standing desk, which is from Index. It's not too big, but it fit the size of my room and then fit the size of my usage as well. And in the middle, I bought a Mac Mini and upgrade the RAM to 16 gigabyte. This is work really great and it's very smooth. And I use Keychron K4 with the blue switch. So I really love the clicky sound. So yeah, that's why I bought it. I think I bought it from the Kickstarter where they crowdsourcing this one. And this one I recommend everyone who is the programmer at the Logitech MX Master 3. This is the really great mouse you should use. And the monitor, not use like 2 or 3 monitor. I just use one, the big one in my phone. And I think this is enough for me because with its size, I can move around things and I can watch many windows on this one screen. And the microphone, I use the Mono AUA04, which is this one I'm currently using. It's pretty cheap. It's not very like high-tech microphone, but it works very great. And the webcam I use the Reso Kyo. But I'm not like I don't recommend this for Mac user because the driver doesn't support Mac yet. So, but the Windows user, I really recommend this one. It's really work really great as well. I use Xiaomi Air Purifier, and I just got the new member, which is my chair, the ergonomic chair from Ashley A633. And my productivity tools that I use during my day job for communications, I use Slack to communicate with the team that I join at the bank. We use Slack to communication, but within the odds, I use Basecamp, which is like a really good tool as well, where we can write, we can do some to-do list, we can check in the Basecamp. For email, since I also a fan of Basecamp, so I use their another product called Hey, which is the email tool. For collaboration, I use Milo, where you can, it's like a virtual board where you can put the post-it on the board and then drag and drop, and then you can join, many people can work on the same board together at the same time. This is really great. For note taking, I use Notion and I use Good Notes. The reason I use Notion because we can use multi devices. Can use it on the iPhone, can use it on desktop, can use it on iPad as well. And Good Note, this is good as well. We can draw or write a short note and then sync to my computer, sync to my iPhone. And for coding, I'm a fan of Vim. Honestly, I actually don't know how to use the Visual Studio Code. Just to be honest, I prefer to use Vim. That like increase my productivity a lot. When I use Visual Studio Code, that's when I teach people. But I don't really use it in my daily work. And this is the books that I recommend everyone to check them out because right now during the pandemic, we also a lot of people working from home, right? And I learned a lot from these two books as well about mainly it's about asynchronous communication and about the writing to documentation as well. Yeah, if you want to work from home peacefully and happily, I do recommend these two books. Please check it out. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Georgie, and thank you, Khan. We're now going to go check for comments on YouTube. And then for everybody who are watching us on YouTube, please ask your comment and we will share that with our guests. I believe we have the first comment from Zorets. Sorry, first question.
Yeah, actually, this has been answered earlier. My main interest is this. In your PyCon Thailand website, you have a meme GIFs when you hover the team members profile. So whose idea is that? Because for me that's the right way to do the event website. That's really cool.
Sorry, I missed your question because it was muted. It was muted a little bit just now. Can you
Yeah.
repeat?
Yep. So my question is, the meme GIFs will hovering over the team members' photo in PyCon Thailand webpage is interesting. So whose idea is that? Because for me that's the right way you do the event website. It's fun and yeah.
Okay. So I actually it was me. So I thought we need to add a little bit fun to the event, and it's really hard sometimes to express who every team member is in just one scroll. So I thought using the right GIF will be the best possible solution. So I kind of at the beginning suggested to every team member to come up with their own. And when some of them couldn't, so I would just think about what they're good at and what they're really interested in, and to say, how about this one? And most of the time they really like it. So that's how it comes out to have this kind of fun aspect of introducing the team members to the people.
That's good. For the audience to have an idea, let me share their event page for a while. Yeah. Yep. Can you see my screen now? So here's what I'm saying. If you hover the team members profile, you're gonna see the
So
memes.
you can see when you hover to Dan, he is actually really good in programming, and he's really a real whiz. But he also loved to dance, and that's how we came up with this nickname for him. And so the same goes to, like, for example, Francois, who loves to go kart and who loves all the IoT things, and then it becomes like everything's related to Internet of Things in the house. And he literally did that because he remotely control his whole house, the air conditioning, the remote control for every single device that he has in his house. Yeah, so same goes to, like, if you scroll to Gun, who loves who's really teaching people about data science and stuff like that. You will say data everywhere.
It's really hilarious.
Yeah, I really love this.
Okay, we have a question from the YouTube comments. Coming from Mark Anthony Yabis. This is a question for the both of you. Faced with a difficult problem, what is your go-to activity to think or freshen up?
Maybe Gun, you can go first.
Difficult problem. I think for me, I would try to draw something, and I try to, for example, I come up with, think about the name. It is called systems thinking, where you can draw a diagram called causal loop or something, but try to figure out the issue where it start, the root cause of the issue, and then draw how it affect to another things and another thing. Try to visualize the difficult problem first, and then yeah, I start from that and come up with something, and maybe just walk around in the house or play with my cats, and then come back to the diagram again. Yeah, that how I do during the day, every day.
I kind of agree with Gan, because sometimes a problem is complex because it's overlaid with several different things that comes together. So if we actually look at the problem as a whole, it's really hard to solve it. So sometimes the more we think, the deeper we get into it, and instead of solving it, sometimes we could actually add more problems to the actual problem. So walking away from it is a very good idea. A good sleep, or even just go out for a nice hike. I like that's the reason why I also like to do a lot of walking. So I use steps to walk. Like normally right now I can walk like every day about like at least I put a goal at least 7,000 steps per day, and it kinds of like freshen up your mind when you are looking around at different things. So once you go back to the problem that you're facing, then you can actually kind of like break it out step by step to to see how you actually miss the solution sometimes, which is right in front of your eyes. Yeah.
Okay, about earlier, Khan. So Letia Villa, I hope I pronounced that correctly, from YouTube said, +1 on the system thinking. While waiting for questions, here are the comments from the YouTube stream. And said about Georgie, you're a songwriter. Wow.
Yeah, it
Go
was
ahead.
long time ago.
But I'm pretty sure you're still into, well, you just said earlier that you're still into music.
Yeah, I mean, music does kind of brings you into rhythm, and it's in everybody's life, you know.
Another comment from Mr. Valdez said, referring to the find the killer inside, oh no, that one crime I allegedly didn't commit is now public. I don't know what he's talking about.
So you can go check it out to see whether you are a serial killer or not.
Although I would suggest you don't share to everyone who the killer is, because, well, it's not obvious what your birthday would be, right?
Well, unless I don't know, someone who might want to know their boyfriend or their husband or their girlfriend, whether they have some killer in themselves, and then they're going to check the birthday. Actually, I wanted to expand a little bit more on that website to include like more details about every serial killer, and also to add more Asian related serial killers in that. When I have that will be my holiday project.
Oh, it's something to look forward to somehow. Tan, so John, have you just commented that those are great book recommendation and they will definitely read it.
The difference between two books, right?
Both books. They enjoyed the recommendation.
Okay.
Should I just ask the question from
Go ahead, Zoret.
Yeah. So since we're in the pandemic, the time boundaries are basically non-existent. This question for both of you: how do you compartmentalize your daily tasks? Do you follow the strict like Elon Musk ish time blocking, or just uh
Break the
you just go with
rules.
the flow? Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
No, it's so polite. He doesn't want to say break the rules, right?
Well, when we are programmers, there's always a hacker inside us. So maybe Kan, you can start first.
During the could you say the question again, please? Compartmentalize. I'm kind of actually don't know what the answer to this one, because for me, I don't think my life is like follow work-life balance, because work-life balance to me is like, this is work, this is life. It's like, it's a silo between two things. For me, I consider myself, I love the work-life integration or work-life harmony. So for my daily tasks, I don't specifically do time boxing, maybe time boxing for the meeting, but not for work. So I can just continue my life during the day until before I sleep, something like that. Yeah. I stop it whenever I feel tired, or whenever I feel that I need to use my energy for other things, or maybe for the next day. Yeah.
Go ahead, Georgie.
I think for me, because I think I have it's not. I couldn't stop sometimes when I dive too deep into the thing, and so in order to make sure that I have time for my kids or for my private life, even for health, so I try to be sure that I don't spend too much time to work. So when I see that, that's why I put on a low timer, because there's no time when I'm really deep into thoughts. So that I can actually tell myself I have to take a break. And it actually works, because previously I don't. And it's actually hurting my own lifestyle. So I think no matter how important we think that our work is, everything has a time for itself. So our life is not only for job, because yes, job pays for what we have right now, but there is also another set of our life that we need to think of taking a break to sleep, for example, and also to enjoy ourselves. If you like to play games, but there's always a time for everything. Just it's like, imagine yourself eating food. If you take too much, you like to eat potatoes, but if you eat too much potatoes, you will have too much carbs. You will need to balance off with more proteins, where you eat meat or vegetables. So too much of something is never too good for ourselves. Yeah.
All right. So there's a question from Aletia Villa from YouTube. Khan, how did you know that data engineering track was for you, rather than something more machine learning or web dev facing?
Thank you for the question. It's a good one. So actually, I study in the field of computer vision and machine learning for my PhD, and then at that time I love to be data scientist. I love to do machine learning. I also taught like the course Python for data scientists, like 5 years, for 5 years. but I realized that after that, when I join a company and start doing my real work, try to build machine learning model for the company, I realized that most of the company in Thailand, they don't have data. So if they don't have data, how come they can do machine learning or AI or something like that? So, and during my work as a data scientist as well, most of my work is to do data engineer, to gather the data around, to do data pipeline and to transform the data. So when I do that, like too often, often enough, so I start to feel myself that this is something that has impact in my life and maybe have some impact for the author as well, that if they have the data, so they can do analytics or machine learning later. So I decided to switch myself from data scientist to data engineer full time, just to help my company and to help other people to be able to gather data from different various data source and bring it together so that they can do analytics and do machine learning and can use data to drive their business. Yeah, that's how I switch. That's when I know that I should switch to data engineer. It takes time as well, like 5 years until I know that I should do data engineer.
But I think sometimes this kind of things, it's great to go through a process where we learn things and we realize what we really want to learn after that in the end. So some people think that, oh, there's a specific time to learn something, but sometimes it could be a lot later than when we thought it should be. So there's no specific time, or a lot earlier. You never know. There are kids who knows how to program at 8 years old. So yeah, there's no age for anything.
All the long journey always starts with the first step. So take the first step.
Oh yeah, of course. And never be afraid to start the first step.
Yeah, actually, I'm planning to have a follow-up question, which is because our Python page community has a lot of students, and also more of them are coming from online class. I think there are newer fresh grads that came from the online classes. So, what's your advice for fresh grads and younger generations who were entering this industry?
Mm-hmm. I receive this question quite often, where people ask, "What is the advice?" And I mean, we are in a family where we're mostly Asian family. Usually, you have your parents who always expect you to learn something, or expect you to achieve something. And one advice that I have to give to the younger generation is that if you think that that's the route that you want to go ahead and learn, do not let anyone stop you, because you are your inside voice that knows what you're interested in. So even if it's something that's really odd, that you think people say, hey, that's too old, or that's no one is actually using it, go ahead and learn, because there's no rules on which one you should start first.
Go ahead, Kan. I think.
Yeah, for me, it's like personally, if someone come to ask me, I would like suggest them to try to think that is fun because learning should be fun, right? If like learning is boring, then no one want to learn. And try to tell them that if you learn, maybe try to create some learning path for them, because that right now there are too many online courses and too many things to learn, right? And they might lost in the forest and don't know where to learn first. So I would try to recommend them some learning path, and then try to tell them that do not rush, because learning takes time. And you know that the young generation, I feel myself that the young generations these days try to rush things, try to learn something that one day you can do programming. You can buy a book that, like, what do you call the book? I don't remember the name. Like when you read it, it's like you can be a programmer, but no, it
Oh,
doesn't.
coding for the dummies.
Yeah, maybe yes, some book like that.
Something like that.
I used to have one of those.
Yeah, I mean you can read the book, but don't feel that you can do the job after you read the book. Right? It takes some
True.
time.
True.
The same as learning online course as well. You need to
Yep.
take time. You need to practice. Don't rush. Don't rush to get certificate. It doesn't help you.
Mm.
Yeah.
True.
Um,
Another thing I think I would like to emphasize is that I think in this world, many people think that you need to have a degree every time to do it. But these days, in terms of programming and in the developing industry, it's not necessary about degree. It doesn't mean that when you graduate from certain things, like what Gan mentioned, it doesn't mean that when you study and you finish or you take the exams, that means you are good enough for certain jobs. So sometimes it's more important to be able to do certain tasks, and it takes time to try different things. Say, for example, if you learn a new skill, it doesn't mean that you learn something and that means you can do it. You need to try a few tasks to work on it until you make it specialize in it, and to say fluently that you can use it. So it takes time to learn things. And even for me, for example, I'm the best example for anyone who thinks that it's too old. I you see how old my kids are, and I'm still learning the basics, because I learn things in a very odd way. So I started learning programming when I was creating website for my daughter when she was young. And then I realized that there was a lot of limits. So I started working on coding, on how to solve it, and to change all the little CSS and HTML little tweaks. And that's how then I realized that there are some things that I could work on to make things happen, to change it. So now I'm actually going backwards and realize that I don't have basics of whatever people has. And now I'm starting to doing part-time, taking CS50, because it gives all the basics of whatever programming basics of all the terminologies and stuff like that. So that's never the right path for everyone, and say, oh, this is for you, you have to do that, because there's always a different path for everyone.
Okay, thank you. The final question for the day, evening for Georgie. To the both of you, do you think digitalization and data can help fight poverty in the Southeast Asian countries? Why? Thank you, Aletia, for the question.
It's
You
a very
go
good
first.
question. It's a very, very good question. One interesting thing that I have to bring back is it's related to Philippines, actually, because I know a friend of mine who used to work in the Philippines. He's an economist who used to exactly to solve this question that she mentioned, which is to fight poverty, because he was assigned to the Philippines. I think it was about 3 years ago, to study and to see how they could the America could actually help to improve the economy in the Philippines. And guess what they use? Data. And it's very important that it comes that you collect data. So he has a group of people who collects data, especially from the fishing side. So how do the fishermen actually learn the livelihood, and how could you actually gather and see which period of time you have more fishes, which period of time you have lesser fishes? How can you try to ensure that the fishes allows them to grow, the time to stop fishing, so that you have enough fish to grow, so that you have a sustainable lifestyle to continue to fight poverty, because you need to have the materials and the products in order to sell, or things like plantation. What are the kinds of plantation that could help to create more to bring better economy to Philippines? So things like that, we require data, and with the data you can actually compartmentalize and digitize how you could create a better solution, like using create the graphs and things like that to figure out how you can digitize the solutions. Yeah. So, Gan, leaving it to you.
Since Georgie mentioned about data, I'm thinking about the technology like blockchain.
Mhm.
If we can like digitalize the paper or some work, like
It will be perfect.
identification. Yeah, I last month I go to the, I don't know what it's called, but to transfer the ownership between my land and my mom's land. You know?
Oh, I can understand what is his story about soon. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I need to do a lot of papers, and since I do a lot of paper, I need to pay a lot. But a lot, I don't know, is for something or for just do the paperwork for the government or something. But it's really a lot. Like I don't know, it's around $1,000 above maybe to pay just to do the transfer the ownership for my mom's land to mine. So I am thinking about blockchain because if you want to fight with the poverty, and this is something that you don't need to pay anything for that. Like you don't need to pay the government for that. You just like click and fill up the form and then do the transfer. And since there's a lot of data inside that as well, like the data about yourself, the data about the land, the data about things.
I think this is the part where the young developers out there, you should actually help out to make the difference, because open source is the solution for that. If you create something that people don't have to pay, and they could actually solve the solutions to that, that saves a lot of money. And that is the solution that is also part of a solution that you can fight poverty, because the government and the system right now at the moment everywhere is not digitized enough, that you need more manpower to produce certain things, and then you have to pay for every single step that you're doing. Can you imagine how much you can actually save if all you need is just to go through something that's actually free, and to just register, click, and it's done?
Yeah.
Technology has always been a great equalizer for society.
Yeah, there are many ways I think developers can actually make a big difference to fight poverty in especially Southeast Asia. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for all for the answers. And I would like to thank so much to Georgie and Khan for accepting our invite. But
Thank you
before
for
we-
invitation too.
Thank you as well.
I hope you enjoyed. Before we close out, I believe there's an announcement.
Oh, yeah. So this announcement is for everyone. So I'm just going to share a little page here. So we are going to be having PyCon APAC in November 19th to the 23rd. And for the first time, we are actually having really a lot of represented speakers around Southeast Asia, including the Philippines, that we have about 6 speakers from the Philippines. And we are very excited to have so many people joining us together this year. There's over 65 speakers with 5 different tracks. So to make life easier for everyone, not difficult. So we split into 5 different tracks. You have tracks that's related to machine learning, data, web development, and community and health, etc. So we've even invited doctors to talk about common issues that developers face, like back issues because of office syndrome, mental health issues, and also invited a specialist in keyboard to talk about which is the right keyboard for you to pick. So, yep, hope to see everyone joining us.
We are opening for volunteers as well, right?
Oh yes, we are also opening for volunteers. So you can go to our website at th.pycon.org to sign up as a volunteer. We're looking for moderators, for people who can do captioning, translators, and MC. So if you would like to volunteer to be one of the MC for or to do a moderate a chat room in Tagalog, please do sign up and be one of the volunteers. That's it.
So this webinar couldn't have been possible without the help from our sponsors. So to the audiences, if your company is interested, please send an email to info@python.ph. And yep, and now before we go, we would like to give a shout out to all the people in chat. This webinar is all for for all of you. So big shout outs to John Javier, Vicente Reyes, George, Mr. Valdez, Canisor Sutam, Albert Tumol, Ange, Mark Anthony Yabis, Shara Bautista, Althea Villa, and also to those who are still asleep right now and we're gonna be watching the recorded video. Shout out to you and yeah.
Do we have to like do that?
Well, if you are a YouTuber,
Shout out! Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
yeah. And as we end the webinar, don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell to get notified of new episodes.
And remember to always have in your heart this line from the Zen of Python. In the face of ambiguity, refuse the temptation to guess. And that's it. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.